Time now for another look at today's business news, and we're starting here in France as the country gets ready for massive strikes this week to protest the government's pension reforms. Another protest is already blocking petrol supplies in the country's west. Brian Quinn from our business desk is here with more. Brian.
Well, Thomas, representatives of the French construction industry have been blocking major fuel depots since Friday. Managers and workers using their heavy equipment to cut off access to at least 4 sites in the western region of Brittany. Gas stations closed or mobbed with lines of customers over the weekend amid shortages there. The industry's grievance, a proposal by the government to end the tax-free status of diesel fuel for non-transportation uses. Industry representatives have been invited to the finance ministry in Paris Monday for talks. They said they'll keep up the blockade until the government's plan is scrapped.
It's going to cost us money, and I have employees. I respect them and I want them to get paid. They get bonuses twice a year. I want that to continue. If I can't pay that, sooner or later, things are going to get rough. They're there to make money too.
On to the retail front next. With the discount event known as Black Friday now behind us, it's time for Cyber Monday. Created to encourage e-commerce in the run-up to the holiday season, the phenomenon has seen rapid growth, including here in France. This despite calls from environmental campaigners and even the Pope to rein in rampant consumerism. Camille Nerlek reports.
After Black Friday, now the Cyber Monday, the last chance for consumers to get a cheaper deal ahead of Christmas. In theory, it's Black Friday's digital equivalent, but traditional bricks and mortar stores are also trying to attract consumers in a buying mood. Set to be a record year for France, shoppers are expected to spend almost 6 billion euros, an increase of over 4% as compared to the year before. There's been a 10% jump in online sales, although most of the money made on Cyber Monday is still expected to be from in-person purchases. In the US, traditional physical shops are also fighting to compete with e-commerce. In-store visits on Black Friday fell by over 6%, but online sales rose almost 20%, as shoppers increasingly buy from the comfort of their sofas. But the spike in spending also comes as critics worry about the impact of overconsumption on the environment. There were protests in France on Black Friday. And ahead of the last day of sales, even the Pope weighed in, calling consumerism a virus.
When you live for things, things are never enough. Greed grows and other people become obstacles in a race. And so one ends up feeling threatened and always dissatisfied and angry. The level of hatred rises.
But many consumers are unlikely to be put off in the hopes of snagging a good deal.
Time for a check on the markets now. European indexes opening in positive territory as new data out of China shows factory activity for November marking its fastest growth in 3 years. London up around 0.5%, Paris up around 1/3%. Renault shares on the rise there as alliance partner Nissan has just unveiled its new CEO in Yokohama today. The DAX right ahead of Paris there. Asian indexes climbing Monday as well on that Chinese data. Tokyo's Nikkei finishing the day up over 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng up around 1/3%. Shanghai up just over 0.1%, with the Kospi in Seoul ending the day up just under 0.2%. That factory data providing some relief from ongoing trade tensions between the U.S. and China as they're complicated by those Hong Kong protests. Well, the Chinese economy also being closely watched by the Asian Development Bank. The Manila-based lender's mission is to finance projects to lift Asian populations out of poverty. As China has risen over recent decades into the world's second largest economy, calls have been mounting for it to be gradually phased out from the bank's list of borrowers. With China's once enormous economic growth slowing amid trade tension and weakening demand, new incoming Asian Development Bank President Masatsugu Asakawa says he expects Beijing will continue its stimulus programs.
The Chinese economy is huge, and its size is twice that of Japan's economy. Given its size, a hard landing will have a massive impact, not just on China, but on the global economy. We hope China engineers an orderly soft landing. I'm sure the Chinese authorities are fully mindful of the need for that.
十分にそこはですね、認識されていると思いますので。
And finally, for business, as the COP25 climate conference gets underway in Madrid this week, the question of how to finance a clean energy transition will be high on the agenda. For that, the UN is banking on a new special envoy who happens to be an old hand in the financial sector. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney will take up the post at the end of January when his term at the head of UK's central bank is up. Carney takes over from current special envoy Michael Bloomberg. He says he wants to put climate change risks at the heart of financial decision making. Definitely will be necessary if we're going to get anything done there, Thomas.
Okay, Brian Quinn with the latest business news. Thank you very much.